Welcome to one of the most powerful and unforgettable stories you will ever hear. This is not just a biography. This is not just an English lesson. This is a journey into the real, painful, inspiring life of a man who lost everything and then became one of the most successful and loved actors in the world. Today, we're talking about Robert Downey Jr. Yes, the man who played Iron Man, the genius, the billionaire, the superhero. The man who helped build the Marvel Universe, the face of the Avengers, the one who gave us that emotional final line, "I am Iron Man." But behind the red and gold suit, there is a man with deep scars, real pain, and a long history of struggle. You may think you know him, but today, you'll see the truth behind the fame. Before he was Iron Man, he was a broken boy born into chaos. He didn't grow up in a happy home. He didn't have a normal childhood. He didn't go to school like other kids. He didn't smile like a boy should. His journey started with drugs, confusion, and a search for love he never received. And yet he turned that pain into power, turned that broken childhood into unshakable strength, turned his shame into a shining story of transformation. Why should you listen to this story? Because it's real, because it will touch your heart, because it will inspire you to keep going no matter what you're facing. And while you listen, you will also improve your English, understand emotions, learn life vocabulary, feel more connected to the language and the world. So, take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's begin the story of a boy who became Iron Man. Part 1. The boy who was born into chaos. Robert John Downey Jr. was born on April 4th, 1965, in Manhattan, New York City. From the outside, it looked like he was born lucky. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was a well-known filmmaker who made experimental, strange, and creative movies. His mother, Elsie Ann, was an actress. So, from day one, Robert Jr. was surrounded by cameras, scripts, artists, and wild energy. But this was not a home of peace. It was a home of chaos. Imagine being a child who wakes up in the middle of the night to see strangers in the living room, people drinking, shouting, smoking. Imagine being a little boy who sees his father doing drugs on the kitchen table. Instead of being taken to school, he was taken to a film set. Robert's father was high most of the time, addicted to alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine. He thought giving drugs to his son was no big deal. So, when Robert was just 6 years old, his father gave him marijuana. That moment changed his life forever. At that age, he didn't even understand what it was. He just wanted to feel loved, even if that love came through something wrong. Robert didn't have a stable life. His family moved often from New York to California and back again. He changed schools so many times that he couldn't make lasting friendships. He felt like a stranger in his own home. At school, he wasn't like other kids. He couldn't focus. He was full of emotions he couldn't explain. Deep inside, he was angry and confused. When Robert was 10 years old, his parents divorced. His mother stayed in New York, and his father moved to Los Angeles. Robert chose to go with his father, the man who introduced him to movies and drugs. In Los Angeles, his life became even wilder. Robert started acting young, appearing in his father's films. He had a natural talent even as a child. He could express emotions and charm the camera. But behind those eyes was a boy who didn't know who he was. At 17, Robert dropped out of high school. He packed a few clothes, left his mother's apartment, and flew to Hollywood alone. With no plan, no money, and only one dream. Maybe I can become something. Hollywood was not a safe place for a 17-year-old with no connections. He lived in small rooms, slept on floors, and was rejected again and again. People told him, "You're too intense. You're not handsome enough. You're not the leading man type." But he kept trying, got small roles in films like Weird Science, and joined Saturday Night Live for one season. But he wasn't becoming a star, just another struggling actor in a city full of broken dreams. Everything changed in 1992. Robert was cast to play Charlie Chaplin in the movie Chaplin. It was a difficult role. Chaplin was a legend. Robert trained hard, studied Chaplin's life, and gave everything he had. When the film was released, critics were amazed. People called it one of the best performances we've ever seen. Robert was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor. He was invited to talk shows, wore sharp suits, and stood tall on red carpets. For the first time, he felt seen. But deep inside, the monster of addiction was still alive. Part 2. Falling from the top after his Oscar nomination, everyone thought Robert Downey Jr. would become one of Hollywood's greatest actors. But while the world clapped for him, he was crying alone behind the curtain. The monster of addiction was growing inside him. Robert had started using drugs at 6 years old. By the mid-1990s, he was working by day and getting high at night, using heroin, cocaine, and alcohol. He would come to set late, speak too fast, or not show up at all. In 1996, everything exploded. Police stopped Robert while he was speeding. They found cocaine, heroin, and a gun in his car. A few weeks later, while high, he walked into a neighbor's house by mistake and slept in their child's bed. He was arrested again and again. Hollywood started saying, "He's a great actor, but we can't work with him. It's too risky." In 1999, the judge finally said, "Enough." Robert was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Prison was hell. One night, another prisoner attacked him violently. He was beaten, punched, and left bleeding. He later said, "Is this how I'm going to die?" That night changed everything, he realized. If I don't change, I'm going to die here. After prison, he tried to stay clean. He got a role in the TV show Ally McBeal and even won a Golden Globe. But the monster wasn't dead yet. In 2001, Robert was found walking barefoot in a dark alley, confused, lost, and possibly naked. He was arrested again. The whole world saw it on the news. This was his rock bottom, the lowest point of his life. His wife, Deborah Falconer, left him and took their son. He had no job, no family, no future. From 2001 to 2003, he tried rehab, counseling, and sobriety, but kept relapsing. Then, in 2003, he met Susan Levin, a film producer. She looked him in the eyes and said, "I will not be with you unless you change." For the first time, Robert made a real decision, threw all his drugs into the ocean, started martial arts, meditation, and therapy. He stayed away from toxic people. Slowly, the monster started getting smaller. But Hollywood still didn't trust him. Part 3. The rise of a real-life Iron Man. Robert didn't just stop drugs, he rebuilt his entire life. Diet switched to healthy, organic food, no junk, no alcohol. Fitness, trained in Wing Chun martial arts every day. Spiritual practice, meditated, studied Zen, and healed his mind. Therapy, faced his past, forgave his father, and forgave himself. Then, in 2006, the phone rang. Marvel Studios was looking for an actor to play Tony Stark. Most people laughed at the idea of hiring Robert. He was called uninsurable. But director Jon Favreau fought for him. He said, "He is Tony Stark. This isn't acting, this is his real story." Robert auditioned, and the room went silent. They weren't watching a performance, they were watching a rebirth. Marvel agreed, with strict conditions. He would get only $500,000. He would be drug tested regularly. If he missed work even once, he'd be replaced. Robert didn't argue. He said, "Give me this role. I'll show you who I really am." In 2008, Iron Man was released. It wasn't just good, it was magic, Robert. Wasn't just acting, he became Tony Stark. The movie made $585 million and launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Suddenly, the man nobody trusted became the man everyone loved. After Iron Man, Robert starred in Tropic Thunder, nominated for another Oscar, Sherlock Holmes, blockbuster hit. The Avengers made $1.5 billion. Avengers Endgame made $2.7 billion. By 2013, Robert became the highest paid actor in Hollywood, earning $75 million per year. But more than money, he earned respect, love, and redemption. He married Susan Levin in 2005. They have 2 children, Exton and Avi. He rebuilt his relationship with his first son, Indio, and supported him through his recovery. After Endgame, Robert stepped away from blockbusters, bought an eco-friendly farm, started the Footprint Coalition, and produced meaningful projects like The Judge and Senior. Today, Robert's net worth is $300 million, but he says his real wealth is his sobriety, family, and peace. 10 life lessons from Robert Downey Jr. It's never too late to change. The past doesn't define you. One good person can save your life. Pain is a doorway, not a dead end. Discipline is freedom. Silence is power. Giving is healing. Forgive even when it hurts. Be the hero of your own story. Believe in your comeback. Final words, Robert once said. Remember, just because you hit bottom doesn't mean you have to stay there. Sometimes you have to get knocked down lower than you've ever been to stand up taller than you ever were. If you feel broken, if you feel like it's too late, remember Robert's story. You can fall, fail, and lose yourself. But you can still come back stronger. This isn't just a biography. It's a mirror, showing you that you are powerful beyond imagination. Start today. One step, one choice, one belief. If Robert could do it, so can you. Now, ask yourself, what's stopping you? Fear, doubt, failure. Robert faced them all and still rose. Now it's your turn. Your comeback is waiting. If this story touched you, share it. Comment on what you felt. And subscribe for more real stories that change lives. Because we're not just learning English here. We're learning how to become the strongest version of ourselves.